Hey everybody, we're going to disassemble this Suncore air compressor for my Audi, but I think it fits a lot of Volkswagen, Mercedes, other German models of cars as well with air suspension. This thing died about 4 or 5 months into service. If you put power to it, it just doesn't run. So we're going to disassemble it, see if we can find out what's wrong. It might be seized. Maybe there's some thermal fuse burned out in here. I'm not really sure. Suncore ended up taking this back. Well, not taking it back, but exchanging it for a warranty compressor. So I got a new one out of there. But we'll see what we can find as to what went wrong with this. I'll link all the tools that I'm using in the description. There's a T25, a T30, and obviously a 10mm hex. So we'll start by removing this black bracket here. That's the one that holds it to the car when it's installed. And these pretty long screws are not very tight, as you can see. Flip that over. They're almost hand tight either, so it doesn't look like it's providing a whole lot of structure. All right, so now that that bracket is off, got my test rig here. We'll power that on later. The next item is going to be this guy right here. It's looks like it's a sensor of some sort. I'm not sure exactly what. Must be a T25. It's not the temperature sensor. The temperature sensor actually goes in the back over here. So we'll pull this apart and see what it is. One bolt. This might be a screw. Okay. Pop that off of there. Is this a solenoid, maybe? Yeah, I think it's a plunger solenoid of some sort. Not exactly sure what that does. You can see down in there, and then this just plunges like this. Maybe a sensor. I'm not sure. Although there is a little hole, if you can see that. Let's see if I can get some more light in there for you. Maybe a check valve of some sort. Hard to say. So pop that off. Goes over here. Next thing to take off is going to be this. I believe this is the dryer. I think the piston's probably back here. Motor's here. I'm guessing there's some gearing assembly, pistons here, and this is probably a dryer. This the bolt on this side should be held in place by little retainers. So it just pops out like this, and it won't spin on the other side. There we go. Let's slide this out like so. Back side of it. So this should be the dryer assembly, so there should be a bunch of little beads desiccant beads in here. And this bolt won't be able to come off until we take it looks like the back, probably the compressor piston off of here, or actually, yeah, up here. So T30 for the for the piston back, or it looks like the piston housing back here. Let's see what we can find. So not in particularly tight either. Oh, okay, so that came out. Oh, actually, okay, so there's a, interesting. All right, so there's a little spring in here, and that was kind of holding it in, and actually this was just stuck against this rubber gasket, so this would have just slid out without me touching this. Just with the spring over here, you can see that one like this. Take off this here, and I don't know if you can hear that, but you can hear the desiccant material back there. We can pop this off and see what we got. I don't want to make too much of a mess. There we go. Some filters. It looks like in here, just kind of, there's the beads. Okay, it just looks like just kind of not a styrofoam, but a plastic filter. And you can see the desiccant beads in there. I'm gonna put this back on so I don't make too much of a mess. I'll leave that over here. Okay, so we were taking this bolt out. All right, so that doesn't actually thread the entire way; it just threads over here and then it kind of slides here. All right, so this is going to be the back side of the piston. Here. And once we remove this, we'll be able to move this bolt out of here as well. Okay. Let's lift this up, and then you can see the bolt kind of slides like this. So here's looks to be the inside of the piston, or sorry, the end of the piston, I guess we would call it the head. And I assume there's probably a check valve somewhere. If we take this apart, there's gotta be a check valve somewhere in here. Oh, actually, that's probably this. It's a check valve. Okay, take this bolt over here. Here we are. So now you can see the piston right here. So that's gonna, let's show you down in here. It's just like a car crank. Let's see if it'll focus. There's the piston, and there's the electric motor down there that drives it. This gasket is actually in horrific shape. It looks like part of it is possibly broken. Oops, let's try this. It looks like it's, broken here and separated. So I'm wondering if this gasket failed, and then that might have caused it to seize. And oh yeah, you can see, look at the top of the piston there. You can see the top of the piston there. It's there's definitely some wear on it. And down in there, not a lot of lubrication anywhere down here. Okay. All right, so let's see what else we can find in here. So let's move the piston manually. So the motor's is certainly not seized, because I can move it around. Obviously, as you can see. So motor's not seized, which is interesting. The gasket's in just look like it's in great shape. So did this maybe burn the motor? Maybe it seized up here in the head and burned the motor. It's hard to say. Take a look in there. A little bit of scoring, on the inside in there, but doesn't seem to be damaged. So let's see what else we can pull apart here. the back side of this appears to be riveted. And over here I've got 2 screws. I'm not sure if that's holding the plate on, but let's try and start screwing that and see if just the plate comes off. It'd be surprising if this plate was held in by just these 2 little screws. Little tiny things. But I've seen stranger things. Nope. Oh, did I strip that? I'm gonna strip that. Nope, nope, we're good. Let's see. Okay, wow, that actually is going to come right out. Okay. All right, so it's going to slide out like this. Little gasket in here. Aha, okay. So, oh, that's the back side of the motor, and whoa, whoops. Okay. Ah, that's why. All right, so that's why it burned out. Okay, grab the bearing retaining clip here. Let's see. I'll shine some light on that. Let's a little closer. What appears to be missing here, and what would cause an electric motor not to run? This brush looks like it's stuck. One of the brushes is stuck, and I'm not sure I even see springs behind here. There's a little kind of a spring clip there, but let's poke on this brush a little bit. Yeah, this brush is stuck. This brush will not spring back. So that's why the motor failed. Brush got stuck. It got oops. The brush was stuck. It obviously is not making contact with the backside commutator on the motor, and that would be a reason why it doesn't run. So we'll tell you what we'll do is we'll see if we want to pull this out. Let's see if we're feeling brave, and I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to see if I can maybe repair just the springs here, or maybe just get some contact on the brush, and see if I can fire this motor back up. But I think that's why it failed. Just no contact back there. Although I'm surprised the coil actually rotates, almost like a watch mainspring. Interesting. But on the other side here, I think let's see if you pull this like this. It does not rotate. So it's almost like the spring kind of came, the spring on the broken brush almost came like unwound. If that makes sense, I'll put a drawing in here so you can kind of see. It's just difficult to see this how the spring mechanism works on the brush. So what I think happened is, yeah, this came literally unwound. The spring came unwound, and then it doesn't push on the brush anymore. So how can we remedy this? I wonder if we push. Okay, so we're going to try and re-roll the brush springs on here. You can see, here's the brush spring. It kind of pushes like this, and it should roll this up and down. But this one seems to have come unrolled. We'll see if we can maybe tighten it back up and see if we can get it working again. Can't really condone this as a good design. It seems pretty prone to failure as opposed to like a spring or something. But what do I know? Let's try and kind of bend that back and pinch it a little bit so we can get. So now it's a little shorter than it was. I hope you can see that. A little shorter than it was. So let's see if we can get that back in here and have the brush actually spring against it. All right, come on. Okay, so go like this. Kind of pull the brush out of there. Put this in here. It's got two little round spots for it to sit in. Housing there. It is significantly springier, although I think it might have come unwound. Again, just by putting it in there. Let's see if we can get it back in. Here we go. Okay, no, actually that works pretty well now. I mean, as well as it can. It's defective, but let's see if we can maybe spin it while it's sitting in here and get it kind of pinch it a bit. Oh, that might ruin its spring. All right, but that spring's enough that it might make contact enough for testing. Yeah, let's try it. Try and orient this properly this time, kind of how it was, I believe. This seems reasonable since it matches up. This other guy, this other spring rather. We should be able to knock that loose just hitting it once it's in. All right, let's see if we can pull on this just enough to get sneak by the bearing. Yeah, okay, got it. There we are. Okay, that looks like it's oriented properly. Yeah, so now everything's flat and matches up 90 degrees. This is not held in by very much. But why don't we put these two screws back, just in case. I'm trying to strip them. Go. Test rig. Good. Let's power the power supply. As far as 2 amps is enough to power this. But, yeah. Let's see if we can get any motion with that. Brush is a tap. All right, let's see what happens. Whoa! Look at that! All right. We're really going to, this poor piston is going to be very sad. But here we go. Let's do it again. There she goes. I'm actually going to seize since it is not in its housing. Actually, why don't we put it in its housing just so it can smoothly go up and down, and let's let it run for a second. Okay, so let's, everything's disconnected. Let's put this guy top dead center. And how is this oriented? Round piece over here. Screws like this. Okay, let's slide her in. There's not a lot of lubrication in there. Okay, these are the larger T30 hex bolts because it's kind of like a cylinder head. I mean, it literally is a cylinder head, but like an engine cylinder head. Okay. Keep the piston from banging too much. I'm surprised actually this motor will last as long as it will with that kind of defective brush spring mechanism. I mean, those things, if it just gets a little uncurled, that's it, the whole thing. Okay, here we are. All right, piston is in its housing. These bolts are on. Let's plug the power supply back in and listen to her run. Obviously at higher amperage, this will run a bit faster, but you can see that it actually does, it does in fact run. It's a bit unbalanced since I don't have the bearing retainer clip or spring in there, but it we did prove that that it was the brushes, and it does in fact run. I guess the motor, maybe the motor's a little burned, but unless we throw like 30 amps at it, it's gonna be hard to tell.